You had mentioned Eddie Gilbert earlier on.
Yeah.
Memories of Eddie, who was a brilliant mind in the business.
Yeah, wasn't he? Very good. Like I said, I looked at that last video and, well, not that last one, some of his last ones. And very good. A lot of fun, good angles, brilliant mind, like you said. Really didn't have the time to really socialize or anything with them. So, you know.
Memories of the Freebirds.
Oh,
Michael Hayes, Terry Gordy,
Michael
and Buddy.
Hayes. Yeah. They were a character, weren't they? Yeah, that was another angle. It probably might have gone far. They were pitting me and Michael Hayes together. So again, I just at work really didn't get to hang out with any of them really.
Okay. Chris Adams, another guy that was in a company at the time.
Yeah, yeah. Someone else. He seemed nice enough, but I heard that he has a really bad attitude. Um, there was some years after I left Midsouth Sports, and I think it was Sam Houston.
Right.
He called me and said that Chris was having a show, and did I want to, be in it? I guess he was helping Chris, and I said sure. And then it just kind of fell apart, and then the next thing I know, he was dead. So, and then I read a little story about him, and some of these people. I mean, some of the lies, when you read them, by the time I'm finished, I'm just exhausted from, all the depression in there, and it's just, it's really sad when people go down that road.
Did you ever experience any depression or drug problems at all in the business yourself? Or
No, I mean, I've heard that people, whatever, that, it's like right now, I'm a hyper person. I'm basically that way. So I've been accused like, oh, she's on something, but I'm just that way. It's the way my brain functions. Have I partied? Sure enough, yeah, I've partied and I've done my share of experimenting around. But no, I've never had any problem.
Were you surprised when you heard that Bill Watts sold the company to Jim Crockett?
Yeah. Because it was something that, he doesn't say I'm about to do this or what do you guys think? It's like all of a sudden, oh, guess what? I just sold your contract. And then you're like kind of scrambling around. What am I going to do? Am I going to go to Crockett? Yeah.
How did you first learn about the sale?
I'm not sure how that went. I just know that I'm not sure how the it was communicated or how I got it. I just know that I think he sold 25 of his top talent, and I was told I was one of them, and I was going to Crockett. And then Crockett kind of got upset at me, and he told me I would never work in the business again.
Why was that?
Well, about 4 weeks went by, and I didn't hear anything. The business was just going back and forth. They're trying to, I guess, tie up, loose ends with the business, and I didn't hear anything. So I actually had an interview with New York. So Crockett calls one day, and he says, "Hey, show up to TV on Tuesday." And I'm like, I've got an appointment on Tuesday. And right out of his mouth, like, with New York? And I'm saying, you know what? It doesn't matter who I have an appointment with. It's been like 4 or 5 weeks. I haven't heard anything. I don't know nothing about my job. I've got an appointment. And he's, and like, to me, like a small child, he's like, oh, you'll never work in this business again. I'll see to it. And then he hung up on me. And I thought, that's a line right out of a movie. But, okay. So off to New York I went. They wanted to actually send me to learn to wrestle. And I don't know, I just didn't see myself as, I put it as drop kicking other women in the chest. I look at it now and maybe.
Was this like an 87 maybe?
Yeah. Yeah, because I think Wendy was already there. Yeah. So I talked myself out of a job. So I said, no, I really don't. Isn't there some other angle or something we could do? And they said, well, just keep us in mind. So then I go back, and then I'm wondering what to do with myself. So there was a show that was going to be, I think, in Florida. So I jumped in my car, and I went to the show, and it was with Crockett was doing a show there. So I asked to speak to Dusty, and Dusty Rhodes comes out, and I don't know if I had to tell him the whole story, but I just tell him, hey, look, I'm looking for work. What can you do? And I told him Crockett got mad at me, blah, blah. He said, forget about Crockett. Show up to TV next Tuesday. So then there I was working for Crockett.
Okay, before we get to the Crockett story,
Mm-hmm.
and how he became part of the NWA, Missy Hyatt again went public with a story, and I want to see if you'll address this. There have been like a lot of rumors and innuendos for decades that Bill Watts' marriage ended because of an affair between you and Bill.
Now, for you to word it like that, that's the first time I've heard that. Now, last year I heard this conversation for the very first time. It was at the Midsouth Wrestle Reunion in Louisiana. And there's signing tables, and Bill Watts is there. He's there with his wife, and there's different other talent there. And Bill said something about it, and he said, "Oh, something about there, about the rumor about us having an affair." And I said, "I don't know anything about it." I mean, he was talking to me as if I follow all this, and I said, "I don't know anything about it." I said, "Who said that?" He said, "Missy Hyatt, of course." And I said, "That's terrible," but I don't know why, she would say that. The only thing I could think, since you mentioned it, I was thinking, why would they say that? But then I finally came to the conclusion they probably said it because towards the end, Bill was trying to separate Dick Slater and I. The angle, we were getting booyahs, both of us. Dick Slater and I were getting booyahs. I was working, and Bill wanted me to start doing some talking, and when he asked Dick to let me start talking, Dick Slater would talk and actually physically move me out of the whole shot. So Bill said, I thought he was going to do that. He said, "You know what? I've got to finish him up." So he was peeling off Dick. And again, it's just what works. If this is money and this is what works, I'm going this way. So from somebody else's aspect, if they want to look at it like that, then, there must be something going on. I think that's where that came from, but no.
No truth to it.
No truth to it.
Okay, there you go. You heard it there first. How did the NWA locker room differ from the Mid-South UWF locker room when you first got to Crockett's company?
Well, I didn't get to see anybody naked. Not that I wanted to.
You didn't want to see Dusty naked? Come on.
Oh, of course I did. Yeah, you know what? I never got in the locker room per se. It was always separate. It was more like they would try to find a room for the girls or the girl to change. I was there with Garvin. What was Precious? No, what was her name?
Baby Doll.
No, after Baby Doll. Who was after Garvin? Garvin's wife.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of Garvin's wife.
Precious,
yeah, right.
Patty.
So I worked with them for a hot minute. So they would try to find us a dressing room to the side. Totally separate world. It's like it was, I understand wrestling is a man's world, but if it's money and this is working, then you add that too. But it was like the guys were really, really hard to work with. Baby Doll had said to me before I went to Crockett, she said, "Good luck. You're going to be like living in your own world." She said, "They'll never talk to you." And she was right. I mean, sometimes the lower card would be driving shot to shot, and we're the top card. We'd all pool our money, like $150, a couple $100, and we would fly private plane to the local shots, and everybody's on the road for hours coming home. They would never talk to me. I mean, never talk to me. So it was like night and day. That was hurtful, and it was rude, and I didn't do anything to any of them. It's just that I think because of their age and men, and not saying this is putting that on it, it was like a lot of ego. So they grouped together and kind of, pat each other's back or whatever, and I had nothing to say or contribute. So yeah, lonely world.
Watch thousands of exclusive shoot interviews right now on TitleMatchNetwork.com.